Hello, guys. Good morning. It's afternoon. Good afternoon. I hope you are doing well. Yeah, so I'd like to welcome you guys to this recording. I wanted us to look at something small. Last time we looked at weekly profiling, and now down from a weekly perspective, we go down to a daily perspective now. We saw how the weekly candle is formed, and as we were talking about the weekly profile, we talked about three profiles. We talked about a classic expansion week. We talked about a midweek reversal, Tuesday reversal, and we talked about a consolidating and reversal week. You have to notice that a weekly candle is formed by 5 daily candles, and it is from these 5 candles that we are able to identify which profile is being presented. And yeah, so from there we are going to look at now daily profiling. This is simply how is a daily candle formed. How is a daily candle formed? And as we have just mentioned, a weekly candle is formed by 5 daily candles. So we are going to look at how a daily candle is formed. So welcome to that. So we are going to go straight. Daily profiling. Yeah, so under this, okay, daily profiling. Let this be our topic today. So yeah. Okay. Now under daily profiling, we have 3 types also. This is just simply to see how a daily candle is formed. We have already established our bias from from a higher time frame. So if you are looking to be bullish or we are looking to be bearish, that is already our bias. So from that, we are able to see how is how is the daily candle going to be formed, so that it can fit to our objective, which is our bias. So now that we have established our daily bias from the weekly profile, we are going to look at how the daily profile is established. And this framework helps traders understand how price forms the daily candle through key sessions behavior. So we have sessions, as you remember, we talked about the 3 major sessions. We have the Asia session, the London session, and the New York session. So it's worth noting right now the Asian session starts at 3 a.m. Kenyan time. The London session starts at 10 a.m. Kenyan time. And the New York session starts at 3 p.m. Kenyan time. So with that, we're able to place ourselves, and we're able to understand based on how these sessions occur, we are able to form a daily candle. So yeah, so what is worth noting here is that you have to understand objectives, the objectives for this, or rather the checklist. We have to consider some few things. So we have to consider number one. Okay, number one is that you already have your checklist. Number one, let me just highlight checklist. So you have your number one, you have your bias, which is determined by your weekly profile. So for what I mean here is, for example, in a classic expansion week, he said Monday or Tuesday forms the low of the week, and then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday expands higher. So when Monday and Tuesday forms the low of the week, you're able to understand now your bias is bullish. So you've already determined your bias. So from coming down to a daily time frame now, we'll be looking at you'll be looking to go to you'll be looking for buy position. So because you've already established your bias, which is bullish, and for example, in another example, in a midweek reversal, you will have to see Tuesday giving you a C2, or Wednesday. So you have C2 on Tuesday on Wednesday. So you look to trade C3 and C4 downward. So if you haven't understood that, kindly refer to the video on weekly profile, so that this will become easy for you. So number two, you have your bias. Number two, you have to understand the sessions, because we are going to look at, we have Asian session, we have London session, and we have New York session. So you have to understand this, and at what time do this session begin. So after that, now with these three, you're able to understand, you're able to frame your daily profile. So we have three types of daily profiles. So I'm just going to so number one is one is London reversal, and New York continuation. By now you understand the meaning of a reverse and a continuation. So here, the London reverse is when these, you realize you have two sessions coupled together. So number one is the London session, creates the week of the daily candle. So the London forms the week, and you understand the week. What is the meaning of the week? So, and then for example, in a bullish London reversal, the daily candle opens, then London manipulates lower, creating the low of the day, and then we have a change in state of delivery that confirms the bullish delivery, and then New York session forms the continuation of the London reversal. So if I was to map this, we have now London. If it's a bullish London reversal, we see the daily candle opening. At that point, the daily candle opens, and then during the London session, it forms the wick of the day, and then New York session continues higher. So at this point here is where we have a change in state of delivery here, which confirms our bullish delivery. And then when you go down to 1 hour, because this is when you go down to a lower time frame, you'll find that the market structure that is being formed here, it's a bullish market structure. So when you go down to a lower time frame, you'll find now we have an open, and then we form a low, and then we start forming higher highs and higher lows. So we'll have something like that that confirms we are bullish. So we have an open, then during the London session forms the wick, which is the low of the day, and then New York session continues higher. And the opposite is true. For this is in case of a bullish London reversal, and in case of a bearish London reversal, we have the daily candle opening, and then it forms the high during London, manipulates the high, then creating the high of the day, and then we have a change in state of delivery, and then during New York session, this we have a continuation to the downwards. So this is now how a daily candle will look. So when you go down to a lower time frame, the market structure you find open, then we form a high, then we start forming lower highs and lower lows, until we close. So now this is a London reversal, because this reversal occurs during the London session, and then New York continuation. Yeah, so we are going to look at this in the charts. We shall understand. Profile number 2, when it comes to daily profiles, we have, okay, to add on something on the first profile, you will realize during these sessions we'll have Asian session accumulating, and then London will either manipulate the high or the low, giving us a reversal, and then New York session will just continue. So we'll realize we'll have something like this at times. We can have something like this, Asian session accumulating. So we have open, Asian accumulates, and then London, if it's a bearish reversal, London will manipulate the high of Asia. Okay, that way. Then London will manipulate the high of Asia and give us a reversal candlestick, and then during New York we see a continuation downwards. So this is in case of a bearish London reversal, and the opposite is true. So we'll have accumulation, and then if it's a bullish, then the London session will manipulate the lows of the Asian session and then give us a reversal, and then New York will just continue to the upside. Now headed the next profile that we have is, we have New York continuation. So New York continuation. So in this case, the rule of the New York session is to trade the expansion following the reversal. Okay, sorry guys, I think I've already explained this. So I've already explained this under the London reversal and New York continuation. They are just one and the same thing. So the next session is the next profile is New York manipulation. So New York manipulation, this is the second, sorry for that. So this is almost a straightforward profile where the New York session sweeps the current day's range high or low, and then delivers in the opposite direction. So you realize that the New York manipulation is the open high, low close in case of a bullish profile, and it's an open low high close in case of a bearish profile structure of a daily candle. So in case of a bullish case, we have London session consolidates, our sideways movement of price during the London session, and then New York manipulates the range low because it's a bullish case. So it will manipulate the low of the consolidating range. And then it gives us a change in state of delivery that confirms our expansion. That confirms our expansion. Yeah. So after that, that is in case of a bullish scenario. And then in case of a bearish scenario, you find that now London consolidates, and then New York sweeps or manipulates the range high. Then we have a change in state of delivery that confirm an expansion downwards. So in case of a bullish case, we have a change in state of delivery that confirms our expansion upwards. And then vice versa in case of a bearish case. So in this example, you have something like this. You have London accumulating. So in case of a bullish case, you have London session accumulates. You have an accumulation, and then New York session manipulates the low of the range and then closes, giving us, and then it gives us a change in state of delivery that confirms our bullish expansion. So you find it is swept the range low or manipulated the range low at this point, and then after that we had a change in state of delivery, which is this. We had a change in state of delivery at this point, and then we continued upwards. This is in case of a bullish scenario. So New York will come, manipulate the low of the London session, and then gives us a change in state of delivery, and then we expand higher. So how do we recognize this in a chart? So you have to look for how did the London session behave. Did the London create a significant high on or low, or it was just consolidating? If it failed to reach a key level, New York is more likely to sweep the range high or low. So after that, you look for a liquidity sweep. For example, at this point during the New York session open, which is at 8:30 New York time, and then you wait for a change in state of delivery after the sweep, and then look for your entry from a PDRA, which can be another block. At this point, our change in state of delivery, I said, gives us another block. This becomes another block. So you can take your entries from another block or from a fair value gap. I like to see a change in state of delivery with a fair value gap, because price will always come to fill that imbalance and continue. So you can take your entry from a fair value gap with another block with a fair value gap, and then waiting for the next draw on liquidity on the upward in case of a bullish scenario. Yeah, so that is it in case of a New York manipulation. So what I just want you to know is that in this case, checklist for this, you have to understand. So our checklist in case of uh, NY New York manipulation profile So before you continue, a good student by now understands that you are using the power of 3 to base our to establish our daily profile, because we are talking about the power of 3. As I said last time, it's an AMD: accumulation, manipulation, distribution. And in this case, we had an accumulation, a manipulation, and then a distribution. The same with this. So what in short, what forms the daily profile is the PO3, the power of 3, which is an accumulation, manipulation, distribution. So you have to consider, how did this previous session behave? If the previous session accumulated, now we expect this session to manipulate, and we have a distribution. So coming back, so our checklist number 1, check how did the previous session behave. So, and in this case is the London session, the London session. Yeah, so number 2, wait for 8:30 New York, 8:30 open New York time, and this is 3:30 Kenyan time. And you realize it is at this point that we usually have most of the economic news being released. So you'll wait for the news to pass, and you see how did we have a liquidity sweep. So after that, wait for okay, after it opens, look for manipulation, which is a liquidity sweep. And then after that, wait for a CISD, change in state of delivery, plus I like this, plus FVG. This is on a lower time frame, for example 5 minutes or 15 minutes. Then take your entries, aiming for the next draw on liquidity, DOL, which is a draw on liquidity. Yeah, so this is our checklist in this case. So you wait, how did the London session behave? We accumulated in this case. Then at 8:30 open, which is at this point, we manipulated the low, and then we had a change in state of delivery with a fair value gap. So we expect price to come, fill this imbalance here, and that is where we take our entries from this point. A change in state of delivery, price, a fair value gap, that way. Then our stop loss to be at this point. We are going to see this when we be back testing. So we take our entry at that point, aiming for the next draw on liquidity. So we have something like that. Yeah. I hope you have understood that. And then the last profile is so where am I going to place this? Let me hide this first. So the next profile and the last one is the New York reversal. This is also very simple. So we have New York, NY, New York reversal. So in this case, what do we have? In this case, the New York reversal, it is simply centered around price action that unfolds during the New York session open, typically between 8:30 New York time to 11:30, or the AM session, because the New York session, you have the AM session and the PM session. So we have to understand the characteristics of that session, and then identify where we have a draw on liquidity. That is from a higher time frame key level, and then we have to have a change in state of delivery, because it's a reversal. Of course, in every reversal, before we have a market structure shift, we will always have a change in state of delivery, and that gives us an early entry, because there's some of us will wait for the market structure shift on change of character, the coach, but for us, we're looking for a change in state of delivery first. So the New York reversal occurs when, so in this case, the London session makes a retracement or an expansion but it does not reach a higher time frame PDRA. You understand by now what is a PDRA. A higher time frame can be maybe a daily fair value gap, a daily order block, a weekly fair value gap. Those are higher time frame PDRAs, or order blocks, or demand and supply zones. So you realize session during the London session, price or made a retracement or an expansion, but it did not reach a higher time frame PDRA. And then during the New York session, price or during the New York open session, price extended further, reaching that higher time frame. So if I was to continue this, then during the New York NY session, this is basically the first few hours of New York session open. Price expanded further, reaching that higher time frame PDRA that London failed to reach. After that, so after price has reached this higher time frame PDRA, price reverses from this point. So price reverses from this point to the opposite direction, or to the opposing direction. Yeah, so think of it this way. So for example, London session London session itself reaches the key level and reverses. That is in case of London reversal. And then New York reversal is simply London failed to reach this level or falls short, leaving room for New York session to come and complete its run to the higher time frame PDRA level. So after it has reached there, price will reverse from this higher time frame PDRA level. For example, if I was to draw this, in case of a bullish example, so let me just draw this for better understanding. I'm just going to draw. We have in case of a bearish setup, let's say we have this is in a daily setup. So from a daily perspective, we have this. This is our higher time frame, and as per they have this, and then we have this fair value gap here. So a bearish fair value gap. So let me change this so that it can be a bit clear. We have that bearish fair value gap. This is from a higher time frame, and this forms what we are calling a higher time frame PDRA level. Now from a daily perspective, now today we go lower to 1 hour. So our 1 hour, we expect during London price to continue higher. This is a 1 hour candlestick, but London session ended without engaging this higher time frame PDRA level. So we expect during the New York open session price to continue until it reaches this point and engages, filling this daily imbalance, and then after filling it we reverse, giving us a New York reversal. So after that we will have a change in state of delivery, and then we continue downwards to our direction. This is what you're saying. So this is what you're saying. London failed to engage this, giving room for New York session to come and complete the run that had been started by London session. So we expect price to come, reach here during the New York session, and reverse from here. So what we shall get is a C2 from a 1 hour candlestick. So now we'll be looking to trade an expansion lower, which is C3 and C4 in the opposite direction. This is simply what we are saying. This is in case of a bearish reversal. A bearish reversal, and the opposite is true in case of a bullish reversal. So you'll have a bullish fair value gap, which is a higher time frame PDRA level. During the London session, price will be headed towards that bullish fair value gap, but it failed to reach that, giving room for New York session to come in and complete its run and engage the higher time frame PDRA level, and then we reverse from that PDRA level. Yeah. So how do we identify this New York reversal? When we look for liquidity pools, we look for, so checklist for this, our checklist. This is simply to understand the daily profile. You just need to understand power of three, the accumulation, manipulation, distribution. That is all you need to understand, because it's all that we use. So to identify this, we have to identify one, identify pools or draw on liquidity, pools of liquidity. So where does this lie? It lies at equal highs. We can have equal highs and lows, stroke lows, swing highs, swing highs, stroke lows. We can have failure swings. We can have fair value gaps, higher time frame FVGs, sessions high, because these are also drawn liquidity sessions, highs and no, stroke lows. So that is our checklist number one. Then number two, after identify drawn liquidity, you wait for, look at how, observe how the London session behaved. If it failed to engage these pools on liquidity or higher time frame PDRA levels, then you expect during the New York session, then after that you have to wait for New York NY session to complete the run started during the London session. Then wait for a reversal. Wait for a reversal. Then a change in CSD, a change in state of delivery. CSD. Then you take your entries. So, and you have to wait for this. The best setups, they usually occur between 8:30 and 11 a.m. session. This is because there is a lot of volatility in this session, so you'll have to observe during that time frame, time window. So in general, if you were to look at all these, the way we have looked at our daily profiles, all these. So what you need to understand is just the power of three, the AMD, because you have to look at how did the previous session close, or how did the previous session or the Asian session, the London session, behave, so that you can predict, or you can determine how the next session will behave. For example, and that is all that you have been saying. London session, did price trade to higher time frame PDRA level in case of a New York session, a New York reversal, and then wait for a New York session, AM session, to price to sweep all this liquidity and then reverse from these levels and wait for a confirmation. Look at market structure. You have to go down to maybe 1 hour. You have to go down to maybe 15 minutes, 5 minutes. You look for market structure shift and a displacement, and also a change in state of delivery. And then now you can have your confirmation that now we are changing our direction, because if in this case we are going upwards, you'll find we are making higher highs and higher lows. But when we engage these higher time frame PDRA level, you will find that price now will reverse, and then we start making lower highs and lower lows, lower highs and lower lows, this confirming our New York reversal session. Yeah, so this is how we frame our daily profile. So, and you realize we have started from our weekly, because from our weekly perspective, because that is where we are going to get our our bias, because you don't want to trade against the bias. If you're bullish, you're looking for buys. If you're bearish, you're looking for sells. So you'll have to wait for that session to give you a clear direction, because this is just you're just trying to align yourself in a way that the market will favor you. So from a daily, from a weekly profile, now for example, we have established our biases is bearish. So in this case, now today we'll want to see price come back to this level and then continue downwards, because our bias is bearish, you see. Yeah, and that is how a daily candle is formed. It is formed by these three sessions. Yeah, so the next video I'll be producing is on back testing. So I'll backtest from a weekly profile to a daily profiling. So go and study about the power of three, the AMT, the accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. Because a manipulation is a forced move, where most of us are usually caught up in the move. We thought now the market is going downwards, but it was just manipulating here. Then we'll be caught up in this wrong move. We want to trade the distribution. You don't want to trade this manipulation, because you can get manipulated also, and you will get manipulated. Yeah, so I hope you have understood that. In case of any question, you can ask. Remember to like, share, and comment. In case you didn't understand anything, you can just comment there, and I'm going to create a small clip on it. So thank you, and see you next time. We are going to be backtesting this, so don't worry that I'm just teaching you about the concept. I'm not showing you the real example in charts. We are going to have a session, and I'm going to post that session on this. So have a wonderful day, and thank you. Enjoy the video.